David Uosikkinen in the Pocket is sponsored by the School of Rock Main Line and Kroger Percussion. I'd like to thank the School of Rock Main Line, located at 511 Old Lancaster Road in Berwyn. You can visit their website at schoolofrock.com. Ask for Dave Marsh or Rick Allison. I'd like to thank Kroger Percussion at krogerpercussion.com at a /ITP, and it'll bring you to a website. You'll get a 5% discount. Call Eric Metz at 215-669-8588. That's KrogerPercussion.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the David Uosikkinen in the Pocket podcast. This is podcast number... This is really technically podcast number 100. This is the reason that we're doing it this way, because I want to do it live, and so this is 100. And right off the bat, real quickly, I do want to make a mention because one of our sponsors is Pocket Percussion, and they moved to Willow Grove, 123 North York Road in Willow Grove. Great store. Keith is amazing. That's his place, and it's a really great drum shop. Well, Fred and I will talk about that during the show, drums and stuff like that. But it's the end of the year. Christmas is just a few days away. We just lost the clock. Did you see that?
Heard it.
Time stands still. And we're here in lovely Clementon, New Jersey. And I am honored to have my buddy Freddie B with me here, man, hanging out. Because I was thinking, who can I have on the show that I just love so much? And he's a great drummer, great musician, and a great hang. And I said, right away. There wasn't even any thought. I'm calling Fred.
Nice.
So.
My pleasure.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm hanging, trying to get through whatever obstacles life is throwing at you.
Shit. Crazy too. We were just, we didn't talk much before Fred pulled up, and right now it's like I watch a lot of the news, man. Probably too much, because every time you turn on the news, there's some, information that just daunting information about what's going on with the pandemic and how this new Omicron, is that what is the name of it? Omicron, whatever the new strain of it is, and kind of making things kind of more difficult, and numbers are going up. But and being musicians like ourselves that go out and play, it really it affects everybody,
of course.
But we don't want to see the world start slowing down again, and it appears that things we're not out of the woods yet,
right.
and that's something we're all dealing with.
And who knows? By the time this airs, things will be different yet again.
And no doubt, we don't know. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? But
right.
We're going to try to we'll make this show more on a positive note about what's happening.
Okay.
And but that's our reality. It's like, wow. I was just up in your old hang. I was up in Woodstock over the weekend, and you were telling me how cool it is.
It's great up there.
And it is really cool, man. I spent the night on Mint Hollow with some friends.
Nice.
Uma Thurman is their neighbor, and right down the street, Todd Rundgren had his studio back in the day.
The Hermit, yep.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool being there. And that Bearsville Theater is a lovely place. It's a cool place you played.
And
John Sebastian got up and played. Yeah. You played with him before, right?
Yeah, like I said, you never know who you're going to run into. Up there.
Yeah. I get why people want to go up there too.
Yeah.
I told Dallin, I said, we should make our way just to hang out up there, because it just felt like a little bit of a throwback. It was just something real soothing about that place.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Not the first time I played at Levon's Barn. The second time I played with Amy and Zach and Connor and a bunch of people. And Donald Fagen was playing.
Yeah.
John
My
Sebastian.
jacket off. Keep on going. Keep on going, Fred. I'm
Take your time.
disrobing.
And Graham friggin' Nash was up there having a photography show.
Oh, really?
So he stopped by and played a couple tunes. It's just like you never know.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to be there. It's kind of it's amazing.
What introduced you to that area? What kind? I mean, look, we all know about Woodstock, but you know what I found out, which was surprising. My friends told me, because Dallin always wanted to go to that Woodstock museum.
Yeah.
And we found out that it's not even close. It was an hour and a half from where we were staying.
Yes, it's in Bethel.
I said, surprise, it's not there.
Yeah.
Bethel was like a little ways away, but then if you know the story, it was like that venue, they wanted to do it there, and then moved it.
Yeah, it got moved.
So
I think it's where the Bethel Woods Amphitheater is.
Oh, okay, that's a good place.
Yeah,
right?
it's beautiful.
Yeah, man. What? So was it? Did you go up there? Was it with Amos? Is that how you were
The first time I went up there was with Amos. It was December 2010, I want to say, and we did a set before the Ramble Band, before Levon.
Oh, cool.
And then we got to go back in the kitchen. His house was attached to the barn.
Yeah.
So they take you through a door, and you get to say hello in his presence. But they were saying, don't really engage him vocally because he was really going through it. Yeah, with throat cancer. But I thanked him for letting me play his drum kit.
Wow.
And because they had to switch it around because I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, me drums is Sue drums, brother."
Yeah. So I met him way before.
Right.
Way before he had any of those issues with
you guys did for Largo?
But even before that, I met because of David Fishoff managed him, and Eric and Rob played on Atlantic City, that record. That Rick did, and my friend Steve Churchyard engineered it. I met them. We were on tour, the Hooters, and I met the guys in the band minus Robbie Robertson at the Paramount Hotel in New York. And he was just so like, "Hey man," and he he really liked our
Down to
band.
earth.
He liked our band a lot.
Right on.
And then a few years later, Roger Waters asked us to do the Berlin Wall.
Right.
And we were on that bill, and the opening acts were Carlos Alamar's band.
Oh, cool.
The band and the Hooters. I think there might have been one other band. I forget who they were, but I hung out with Levon like a lot that day.
Nice.
And Danko. And, back then, Danko.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was like, I just got sober, I think.
I was just going to say, were you in any condition to play after that?
Yeah, but see, I was 90, so it wasn't, but Rick had some pharmaceuticals with him, and he was such a lovely guy. But you know how you said me drums or Sue drums?
Yeah, me drums is Sue drums, brother.
He said to me, "Oh man, we should make a record." This is before Largo.
Nice.
He goes, "We should make a record together, and if it sucks, this is what he said. If it sucks, we don't have to play for anybody." And I'm thinking, Levon, I said, "How could it suck with you on the record, man? If it sucks, we don't have to play for anybody."
I love it.
I think he said socks. I think he did. I remember going, but I thought, how could that come out of this guy's vocabulary when that he would even think that, But he said, we should do something together, and then later on, because I'm thinking that could never happen, and we did Largo. Although the track I played on it, he didn't sing on, but because Andy did half the album and I did the other half of the album.
Okay.
So, but he was such a joy, that dude.
Did you guys did a television?
Yeah.
Was he on that or no?
No. Well, we did. Was
it Letterman
because Rick tried to keep that going.
Yeah.
And we did a show at the television, because we did the David Letterman show.
That's right.
And so that.
Was he on that?
I think that night Well, how did that work? Because I was in New York, and I remember he wasn't on that, but Garth was. So Garth played the Bottom Line, and Joan Osborne, I think Cyndi Lauper, Joan Osborne, Cecil, the singer that sang Sissel. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was did the vocals on the Titanic.
Wow.
She played, and Willie Nile. Rob, of course, Eric, of course. There were a bunch of other people. David Foreman.
Right.
David Foreman, who was just
Little Isidore.
wow.
He's amazing.
That guy. So Bill Whitman.
Nice.
And so we did that, and we did the Letterman show, and
it's cold in there.
And Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal.
Isn't it freezing in there?
It is cold in there. You did that show.
Oh,
right?
many times.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
Yeah. But to get back to Levon was just such a nice guy. He didn't do that show. Garth did the show. And Garth actually fell asleep on stage when we did the Bottom Line. You know, he apparently had some issue with narcolepsy or something like that. He fell asleep. I watched him. But I watched him, and he was playing. He's asleep. No, and then he starts playing. He was amazing. And he was just a good guy. I remember talking to him backstage.
Didn't he come down to Philly and do the last waltz?
Yeah, which I was surprised you weren't playing drums on, too.
I was actually on tour.
Yeah, with Amos then, right?
Yeah. But my Hawaiian band, Slowy and the Boats,
played
the waltz, the actual waltz from the last waltz.
Wow.
I'm going to try to plug everything while I'm
Fred,
here.
Fred, you've had... people don't know, Fred and I were good buddies, and Fred and I we're the same age. We have a week, our birthdays are a week apart.
Yep.
I'm February 11th, you're
17th.
You're the 17th. Yeah. And we always make a point of trying to either get together on our birthdays or, we're always make note of it because we're both hard hearing impaired and we've always got the shit beat out of us from playing drums.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've actually never really thought about it. Well, listen, man, you've always been, because I remember early on with the All-Stars when you had your shoulder thing.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you, man. You were playing, and you're your left. Was it your left or your right shoulder?
My right shoulder.
Well, but I remember you were throwing down, and you had this issue.
It never.
You had to learn to play, right?
I
that.
Play more from the wrist now, and it just never really went away. But I stretch, I do qigong.
Did that help, the qigong?
Oh yeah, totally. Wow. I've been doing it for years.
Because I was just telling Quentin Jones on the way down here. I said, "Listen, man, I got to start," because he those guys are they're really into just digging in and stuff. And I said, "Listen, I got to back it off a little bit, man, because I'm." I got to, play smarter, like they say. And, I can't play like I did when I was in my 30s,
and
40s, or 50s.
It's about the intent and the energy isn't, it's about focusing the energy as opposed to it being sporadic, crazy punk rock energy. I mean, that's great when you're 25, you know what I mean? But you do that into your 60s and whatever,
you see the guys
somebody's going to get hurt.
Someone's going to get hurt. Yeah. I mean, look, man, we got to love what we do because we keep doing through whatever physical ailments that we have.
It's true.
But there is definitely something to be said for taking precautions when you're getting up there. Like I'm thinking, next year we go out on the road. If everything stays, if they don't, things get crazy and shut down. I'm supposed to go to Switzerland. I'm supposed to, knock on wood. I'm supposed to go to Switzerland in March and play with Luzerne with the Hooters and to play with an orchestra and a choir. It's all and you have to play. I'm guessing most of it's going to be on a click with a live audience doing all that stuff. And then we go out. There'll probably some dates, but I was looking at my calendar, man. I'm going from June 28th to August, 7th or 8th.
Awesome.
I mean, it's awesome, but at the same time, I'm thinking I gotta get myself, all that. What was that thing that you do? What was the arts, martial art thing that you do?
Qigong.
Yeah, I definitely think a little more about that kind of thing. Just
hey, look, thank God you're not doing what,
No.
You know what I'm saying? Thank God,
the old days.
Yeah, you're sober and and imagine if you weren't.
Yeah. Well, in my case, if I didn't stop doing what I was doing, I wouldn't have been here, man. Nowadays, with all the way that people are kids today, kids today are taking things, experimenting, and they're killing themselves because of what they put in drugs.
Right.
And I don't know, knowing what I know today, I mean, I would like to think I would have been smart enough to not to do it. Like where I grew up. This isn't disparaging my neighborhood because this was in a lot of neighborhoods, but where I grew up,
mine included,
a lot of kids were experimenting because it was the culture.
Yep. Absolutely.
And even in the music business back in the day, like there were a lot of guys. I remember a lot of cocaine and a lot of that stuff like floating around, like it wasn't such a big deal.
Right.
Nowadays, guys, like anybody doing drugs is looking like he's
pariah.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be around cats like that, man. It's it's going to be a negative thing on the show. It's going to be a negative thing to anybody else you're around because what comes around with that,
Right.
So. You're right about that, So
go ahead.
No, you.
No, all right. I was going to say another thing that we share is we both played with two deceased brothers of ours, Bobby Woods and John Kuzma.
Yeah. We could do it. We never really talked. We talked a little bit last time you were on the show about John, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, John was. You played with John a few years after I played with him.
Correct. But you came up with him.
I came up with him from he was in the Hooters for a couple of years.
But even before that.
Oh, God, we played together in bands for 10 years before that.
And I think Bobby, too, for a
Bobby for a long time. Yeah. Hey, man, I had a great experience with Bobby and John. There was a legendary guitar player out of Philadelphia, my buddy Rick. I hang out with Rick Cornetti from time to time.
I know who he is.
And Rick
is of him.
Phenomenal musician, just incredible guitar player. Musically, he's just so knowledgeable, and he's a great guy. And he was friends with this guy, Mike Kennedy. Eric knew him too.
I know of him.
And this guy was
Northeast, right?
Yeah, and he played. He was more of he had a band called Rock Island Line, and he played. I remember he was a thing of. Back then, there was no internet. It was just like word of mouth about guys, and he was something special, this cat, from what I understand. And I remember he likes another friend of mine, Steve Solitis. They moved to England.
Oh wow!
Years ago, because they wanted to kind of do what Sal Maida did, go over there and try to get into a cool band.
Sure.
Which worked for Sal with Roxy Music, and he was getting all these things. But Mike Kennedy was hanging out with the guys in Traffic.
Oh,
and I think he was friends with Jim Capaldi and those guys. And so the way this ties into Bobby and Rob Saltzman. Remember Rob Saltzman?
Of course.
I was playing in a band with John Kuzma, Bobby Woods, Rob Saltzman, and John and I.
That's a good band.
It was a really good band, and I remember we were rehearsing at this place out in it was somewhere off a street road, but it was almost like a real rural kind of area, and we were in this barn, and Mike Kennedy came to our rehearsal. And I remember I was like 18 years old, and I felt like I was around like one of the Rolling Stones or Jimmy Page. I was like, whoa, man, Mike Kennedy's here. I was almost too nervous to play because he was in the room. Like, I didn't know what he was doing there.
Right.
I think he was just coming to check us out, He came to hang out. He was with Saltzman, and I remember he sat, but he had this real mystique. But that was like Bobby's crew, because Bobby was playing with these guys, Saltzman, and before he played with John and I. But we hit it off with Bobby Woods so well, me and John. And John and I had played with all these like bar bands coming up. We were like a team, like where John went, I went, or where I went, John went. And the only time it ever changed was when we did we had a band called Hot Property with Heidi Lynn and Rob Paoletti.
Yep.
And Rob
was Danny in that band too?
DeGennaro. That was before. Now that was a really good band with Danny DeGennaro and I got the Torpedoes.
Right.
And you knew Danny. You played with Danny too.
Yeah, I did. I did a gig with Danny and John.
Wow.
And my dear friend, who I grew up with, Gary Balducci.
Wow.
Who
Bubba.
Bubba. Yeah.
Wow, you grew up with Bubba?
Yeah, we were in the Cub Scouts together.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Bubba
we had our first
he played in
band
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Really?
Did you know that?
I did not know.
He played bass on Cleanup Woman. We're talking about. No. That's another. I'm talking about Gary Bodner.
Oh, okay.
No, not Gary Bodner. What is his name? Oh man, I'm embarrassing myself here. But there was a bass player that came up from Florida.
Right on.
I know who you're talking about, Bubba, because he did a gig with me and TJ.
Yeah.
He
played with you.
Wrong guy. I totally fucked that up. I fucked that up.
That's all right. But Bubba and I grew up together. But I did a gig at a pizza place in Levittown with Danny and John.
And I wonder where that was.
Mikey Jr. stopped by. It was the first time
really good.
First time I ever met him.
Yeah, he's really good.
It was a pizza place in Levittown that had a bar attached to it.
I think I know. It was like near Tullytown, I think.
I forget what it was.
I remember that. I remember hearing about that.
It wasn't the ballpark.
The ballpark, right? Yeah, I know that place too.
I used to play there with John with the Heartbeats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you played there with John?
Yeah.
Wow. You probably had a lot of people come out for that.
His mom used to come out every time. Wasn't she great?
Oh my God.
She was awesome.
Oh my God, she followed. She came out, sat on that. She would always be there, hang out all night.
Yeah,
she was something.
Yeah.
But but going back to that, that whole thing, I didn't really, bringing that up. I went, oh my God! But there was Danny, John, and I. So did the Torpedoes were together. And then Torpedoes morphed into the Hot Property because Danny started doing the Kingfish thing.
Right.
With Kingfish. And so we started doing Hot Property.
Steve Shive, too.
Steve Shive and the guy.
Another great Levittown
Great drummer. Steve was a little older than I was, and he kind of got me started.
Right.
Do you remember a band called Sundance? Well, that was like a horn cover band, and I never knew how to play.
Sundown.
Yeah,
band.
Yeah, it was. Steve had that gig for a long time, and then he left to do Tim Moore.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he did Tim Moore.
Tim lives in Woodstock.
Oh yeah. Wow, I used to see him post on Facebook. I don't see him post
once in a while.
I don't see him.
I ran into him with Zach one day.
Oh yeah.
In the parking lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you never know who you're going to run into there.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, a lot of great musicians. Great. Yep. He's a great songwriter. Yep. Well, he got that gig, and then I did the Sundance thing.
Okay.
And I did it. I remember it was something because they wore like. I kind of looked at it back then like you had to wear a uniform to play.
Right.
It was you were playing all these like Duke's pubs and stuff like
Deptford
that.
Tavern.
Yeah.
High Nella.
Yeah, you know about that.
I came up.
I remember 7 sets a night because I did 5 and then I go High Nella. Yeah. Did all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was something that I did because I figured if it made Shive good, I'm going to do it. And, we had to do Earth, Wind, and Fire tunes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I did it. And then after that, I think after that, I kind of got, I went back to playing with John. But what I want to get to about him and I playing together, because this is important, he left with Bobby to go play with the Shakes. Remember the Shakes?
Oh, yeah.
Bobby Campanella, right? Yeah. And then I felt like I was wounded. I was like, oh, I was more wounded, not so much about them going.
They were great.
They were really good. And Anson.
There was that whole.
Anson Cooper.
Yes.
Wow.
There was that whole Asbury thing, man.
Anson Cooper was a mother.
Yeah.
He was he was like, he went from playing drums to playing linebacker for the Colts. I'm kidding, but that's what Anson looked like. He could destroy you right through, like walk through a building. There's a
great
big dude, great drummer.
Yeah.
And then And then later, I guess how we come back, John. After I guess they ran their course, well, like bands do back in the day.
Right.
Like and then somehow, I don't know how. You know what? That might. Because I'm trying to remember how we ended up in the Hooters. I know it was through me doing a thing with Eric and Rob, but
really,
Eric, because Eric was coming down to sit in with.
Well, you guys started at Vernon's, right?
Yeah, and Eric used to come and sit in with us.
Right.
And then he invited us and said, "Hey, you want to come? You want to come jam with my partner Rob?" And then I did that, and then he really liked John and Bobby. Of course, we wouldn't.
Right.
And they invited him, and then we started, and we used to play at Vernon's all the time.
I actually met Eric through Rick Prince, my good buddy.
I know Rick.
Another bass player partner who I grew up with.
Yeah.
Same neighbor, around the corner.
Hey, I just got a great record from your buddy Gilson.
Oh, Johnny G?
Yeah, great. Well, I'm assuming it's. I haven't played it on my player yet.
But it's a cool looking record. It's
Did
great.
you play on that record?
It. Yes, and then my turntable died right after I played. It was too much.
Did you play on the album?
I did not.
Okay.
Because I just recently. Well, I'll get back to that. Circle back to that. I just recently learned how to use Logic, and that's what I did. What I did on my pandemic. I taught myself how to use Logic.
Yeah.
And got
well, you could get your boy Brendan to show you all that crap.
He's helped me out.
He's
a little
really
bit.
good.
Yeah,
he's really good. Pro Tools guy. You don't want to do Pro Tools? Because it's too expensive, man.
Logic's easier.
Oh, totally.
I started out with GarageBand, which is Logic Lite.
Yeah.
And then I bumped up to Logic. My buddy Rick helped me with that. So anyway, Rick and I and Tim Jordan used to be in Forest Green. It became Spiral.
Yeah, I even know that band.
Forest Green, they were on Capitol Records.
Yeah.
And so we used to go into the studio every Sunday at a place called Half Track.
What was it called?
It was up in Elkins Park, like on 5th and Cheltenham.
You were probably like around 18 years old then, 19?
Maybe 20, 21.
Yeah.
And we were recording every Sunday. It was like a workshop. We'd go and record.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the drum kit, instead of regular toms, had roto toms for the tom-toms.
Yeah.
Except for the kick and snare. But they sounded great.
Really?
And it was a 1-inch 16 track.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great sound.
Yeah, I bet. Well, that tape, it's hard to beat that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Tape, tape is like,
But one day I showed up and Eric was playing. I think the Hooters had already started. And I knew, I was aware of Baby Grand.
Yeah.
I knew both of their albums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was a fan.
I really love that first album.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Rick Marotta is just insane on that. So
and Carmine played bass, right?
On
or
that first, the second album was Carmine and Prater. Prater is just
Prater, who didn't do too bad for himself.
Great producer, became a great drummer.
Yeah.
But the first record, I think it was Neil Jason that played bass on that.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Neil, it was, and Rick Marotta.
Right, it's a good team.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
I played Jerry's drums over the weekend.
He lives in Woodstock, and he's got a studio there, I believe.
I should have invited him Saturday. I just didn't think. Eric Parker came out.
Oh, nice.
Great drummer. Great drummer. That whole family of great drummers.
Yes,
what do you think that's like?
That must be crazy.
Chris, your brother's
imagine.
Chris, and then you got Eric and
there's
Eric
another
is,
brother.
Just
there's three or four.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And they got a whole thing. There's the Marotta brothers, which is an amazing story because both of them started. Like, I don't know when Jerry started playing drums, but I know that Rick started at he was like 19 or 20 when he started playing drums. Do you know that?
That's late.
He started really late.
That's incredible.
That's what I heard. I'm pretty sure he started late, and then he gave Rick a kit. They just, their
great
thing.
Feel.
Yeah. I mean, you listen to that Linda Ronstadt stuff earlier, or Steely Dan. I mean, Rick is like a savant kind of guy.
And Gabriel, Peter Gabriel.
No symbol. Wait. Oh, that was Oh, no symbols with Jerry. Yeah. No symbols.
Yeah, I think on a few of those records.
Something to be said for that.
I saw several of the albums were called Peter Gabriel, but the one with Shock the Monkey.
Yeah.
I saw that tour.
So that one.
They were what a band.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
man.
Larry Fast on keyboards.
Yeah,
so Tony Levin.
Yeah.
And Sid McGinnis was playing guitar.
Right on.
Did you ever? You've met Rick. You met Jerry before, right?
No, I haven't met
Jerry.
Any of those guys.
So Jerry, I always make a point to say hi to Rick and tell him how much I love how he Never Enough and stuff. Like, I just love what he did on it. I always tell him. He says, "Shut up already." But Jerry comes up to me at I was at this Zildjian thing with him, and Jerry says, "Hey man, Dave, don't take this the wrong way, but I always like Baby Grand a lot more than I like the Hooters." I said, "Jerry." Jerry goes, "That's just the way I am." I said, "Don't worry about it, Jerry." I said, "There's days that I like the Baby Grand a lot more than I like the Hooters, too." That's what he said to me.
It's like, weird and wonderful.
Yeah, I know. I know. I don't know what he's trying to say here. I said, well,
strange.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, when you do this at a certain level.
That's his way of breaking your stones.
Breaking your stones, yeah, whatever. But I liked him a lot, Yeah. And I like those drums were really nice that I played this week.
Hey.
Well, he doesn't own. I think he sold them to
the theater.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. Cool. A really nice kit. I think it was a 20-inch bass drum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got to go look at it because it looked a little. But he had a really nice. Simple,
I like a 20.
Yeah, simple little kit.
Yeah.
It sounded good.
Did you see my drummer of the day yesterday was the great Jerry Granelli, who played on the the Peanuts Christmas.
Oh,
stuff.
Wow. That guy's great.
Yeah. But his kit,
great.
the picture that I used, my point is, it was a beautiful set of Ayote, is that how you pronounce it?
Ayote. The Canadian company.
Canadian company.
Yeah, that guy that makes it. That what happened was,
man,
they have those rims that have, right? Well, do you know that he made those and Anton played those?
Right.
And I don't know if it was Anton or Steve Jordan, but they apparently. The reason Yamaha started making those rims, is because of those guys.
Really?
They were ready to jump ship at one time. That I heard that. I don't know if it's true, but they make nice drums. That guy makes a nice drum set.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Kit at the living room in New York. I believe they were Ayote, or just the head was.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they were. And they were small sizes, I believe. They were just 12, 14, and 18, maybe, or 20.
Yeah.
Bebop kid.
Nice.
But they sounded really good, always,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. Get a nice kit. You get the guy that knows what to do with that kit.
True.
Makes all the difference in the world. Speaking of somebody that knows what to do with a kit, Russ Kunkel has been touring around with his band, with Waddy.
Yeah, they were just in Ardmore,
I didn't get there. I really wanted to go, but boy, what a. I mean,
the family. What are they called?
I think Immediate Family.
Okay.
And I think it's called the Intermediate. I don't know, something like that. But I'll tell you, like Andy Newmark. And Russ Kunkel. Russ Kunkel, John asked me he was going to see the Flag tour with James Taylor. And that was that. Dan, the only difference, I think, in that band was Don Grolnick was playing piano.
Oh,
remember him?
Yes.
So absolutely. Don Grolnick, Waddy, Danny, and Leland Sklar, and Russ Kunkel. And man, it was like, I was like I saw God on stage. I could not believe, like Kunkel was playing back then, it was a lot younger guy,
right.
And he was playing such a fluid body motion over the kit.
Interesting.
Like just beautiful, or everything. He plays more inside like nowadays, and I think that's probably because he's a little older,
Right.
But boy, what a drummer, man. I mean, the sound and his sound and everything. And back then he was always exploring because he was the guy that did the North drums. Remember he did that Jackson Browne. Like, you listen to Jackson Browne record, the live stuff, man. Oh my God, fantastic. Like I gotta say, like sound, like I grew up with Charlie and Ringo, and even Dave Clark. Not even knowing that it was like Bobby Graham playing or Tim Contaney or
it's a great snare drum sound. Whoever it is,
exactly. But those guys, the American guys like Andy and Russ Kunkel, really freaking were like wake up calls for me.
Andy Newmark.
I embarrassed the shit out of him. He came out of an elevator in 1983 in New York. I was at the American. It was some I forget the New Music Conference. In New York, and he walked out, and Rick. He was playing a lot with TJ. Was using him on a bunch of stuff. And Rick Chertoff was using him on some sessions. And I remember he came out, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Andy!" And it was like Billy Idol and all these people in this room, and Andy Newmark was there, and I was making a big fuss over Andy Newmark because the same reason you would. It's like, holy shit, man!
I embarrassed myself in front of Andy Newmark. This is a horrible story.
What happened?
I was studying with Purdy. I was going up to New York once a month. It was great. Once a month, $30. The train ride costs as much as the lesson.
What year was that?
83.
Oh, when I was doing
probably the same time you were going.
I might have been on the same train with you, going to see.
And you got to have that Beatles conversation with Bernard. It's unavoidable. So, and we all know. What that's about. But I love the guy. He was awesome. Quick aside, if somebody after me would cancel, which happened a couple times,
he would keep you.
He would give me an extra hour for free. Really cool.
He's a great guy. Listen, for whatever reason, like he went into that at that. Do you remember that thing? Are you going to Delaware Drum Show this year?
We'll see.
Yeah, well, I committed.
Bernard's there every year.
I committed to go. He goes, and
every year.
I sit next to him. I usually sit next to him there. And one year he really kind of expounded a little bit on the is that a word? That's a word. Expound.
Yeah.
A little bit on the Beatle thing in a group of drummers.
We saw him do
the clinic.
Clinic.
Well, were you there for when he talked about the Beatle thing? He started on going.
I don't remember. I might have shut down when he said
It was the weirdest freaking thing.
So
I was like, just stop.
Yeah, it's kind of like a story that you
don't get Bill Whitman started with that shit.
You start and becomes bigger than what it is, and you can't take it back at a certain point.
Because you can't do that to Ringo.
I mean, there's a theory of what it is. Maybe it was some of the German recordings. That's what everybody says. And there's examples of those recordings.
But he uses the word all.
Yeah.
He says, come on, man.
So my buddy Lance Quinn was producing.
Played with Robert Gordon.
What's that?
Lance Quinn played with Robert Gordon.
He did.
Great guitar.
And Danny Gatton. And I saw them play together.
You did?
Like
Danny Gatton,
times.
Danny DiGennaro, same guy.
Well,
same playing.
Danny Gatton was walking the bar at the 23's Cabaret with the Rolling Rock bottle. Playing slide. And I was in awe.
Fucking guy was great.
So.
Danny was great.
Danny D. Lance was producing an album at his old studio in Philly called The Warehouse, which was kind of like a mini power station kind of place.
That place was big.
Yeah, it was great.
A big joint.
And he had Andy Newmark on drums.
Oh, cool.
And he invited me to come down.
What record was it? Do you remember?
What's his name? Guy who plays with Springsteen. Flip. I
remember Nils Lofgren.
Nils.
Oh, I remember.
I just remember the name of the album. Flip.
I remember when he was doing that.
Yeah.
Because Studio 4 was around.
Lovitz was playing keys.
Oh, God bless him.
Yeah. It was a great band.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And so I came down, and Andy and I were talking. We're having a great conversation.
Yeah. Oh.
And then I mentioned that I had studied with Bernard.
Oh.
And I said, well, what is your take on this whole Beatles thing? And basically, he walked away. He said, I'm really tired now. And he walked away and took a nap behind it.
Because he didn't want to talk about it.
He didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, 23,
hey man,
24 years old. I was, I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Shit. You know what? But you were asking.
I embarrassed myself.
Well, listen, I'm sure he forgives you. He's good friends with Jim Gordon.
Ooh.
Yeah, he stayed in touch with Jim Gordon.
Wow, what a sad story.
And Jim Gordon doesn't. Now I don't know if this is true. Well, it's got to be because Andy told it. Like I think he's was eligible for parole.
I was just thinking.
He doesn't want to get out. He doesn't want to get paroled. That's what the word is. Like he does not. He's like so. You get like institutionalized, and you're really so used to that. I mean, that guy. Holy shit! What a drummer! You listen to Derek and the Dominoes, or you listen to Bonnie and Delaney and Bonnie. Those records. Oh my God! And tracks
and he
played on.
Even like as a young Wrecking Crew in training, he's on a lot of that stuff too.
Jeff Porcaro loved him.
Yeah.
Did you read Robin Fland's book on Jeff yet?
No.
It's worth getting. She's supposed to come on the podcast sometime. I asked her at some point to come on. I mean, she has written this book that is so cool because it's almost like it's a chronological view of his work. And he talks about doing certain tracks, and it's you'd love this book.
Huh?
It almost makes me think. I'm doing a session with your buddy Brendan with this kid that I'm working with on next week.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
I recently wanted to, because I've always been using coated heads on drums. I like them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to mess with some black dots after I spent some time with Dennis Dinkin, because Dennis was playing a black dot on a snare drum, which I used to do years ago.
Right.
But boy, it sounded great, Fred.
Huh.
It really sounded great. And that was like the old Bonzo thing. I'm kind of going to mess with it, just the idea to see what happens, Yeah.
Does Dennis have a radio show?
Yes.
WFUV.
That guy is.
Right? I ran into him one time.
Such a good guy. Great drummer.
Great drummer.
Great drummer.
Yeah.
Marshall, I played with Marshall this weekend. Marshall.
Right. Is he fronting the Smithereen?
Yeah. And I told him he did such a great job. And did I tell you, I played with Robert Gordon on the weekend. It was me, Kenny, and Quentin, and Billy and Marshall at one time on stage playing. Robert is this guy that if the monitors aren't right, it's going to stop the show.
Oh boy!
Yeah, stopping till it gets it right. I'm walking off the stage. Wow. But but man, when he opens his mouth, man, you're like, oh my God, he's the real deal.
Thing.
He's so good, So
I remember seeing him with Danny and
Robert
and Lance and Shannon Ford on drums.
Shannon Forrest was playing. Wait.
Shannon Ford, is he a drummer?
Yeah, but so if that was, I got to look that up because I know back then Bobby Chenard played drums.
It wasn't Bobby. That I would have remembered.
Bobby played drums, and Anton Fig played drums.
It wasn't Anton. I think it was Shannon, a guy named Shannon.
Wow.
And it might have been Tony Garnier on bass.
Oh, yeah. Tony played with him.
Yeah. And he also played with Buster Poindexter, too, before he...
Did he?
Guy with Dylan, and who he's been with for years.
The Shannon guy? Or you're talking about Garnier. Did you know Dennis McDermott? Did you know the drummer, Denny McDermott? There's a Mike.
I know Mike, the guy who plays with Jones.
Yeah, great drummer.
Yeah, he's great.
And Dennis, is it Dennis McDermott? Denny McDermott. He played a lot with TJ, and Kenny worked with him a lot. I don't know what he does anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of cats that that were coming up either a little bit before we were, or that are they're not playing, they're not as active, but they're still playing and doing stuff. So I always I wonder about guys like that. What are you doing? Because if you're moved, if you're in freaking there's always like a scene every little town you go into, except San Diego. That's not. I'm sorry, San Diego. That's not true. But
beautiful place to live.
It was really a pain in the ass because if you're a musician, there's some great musicians there. Right. It was like I had to drive to L.A.
Of course.
Or, up near that area to work.
No, I understand.
You could work there. Like I got a, fair amount of stuff, but it's got to be hard.
There's definitely some great players down there. I saw when we would play at Humphreys.
Jack Tempchin lived. Jack Tempchin.
Really?
Jack Tempchin. I knew Jack. He's a great writer.
I used to go see some bands, and even if they were cover bands, like I ran into this
J.J. Cale
band that was playing at the place attached to Humphreys.
Oh.
And the bass player was great, and I started talking to him. It turns out it was Cecil McBee's son.
Oh.
You know what I mean? This guy,
That's where Nathan East is from. He's a San Diego guy.
Interesting.
Yeah, he used to hang out. They're like great players.
But I think he was born in Philly, I believe.
Nathan was?
Nathan East,
wow.
Yeah.
I
don't know how long he lived here, but...
Any Gadd stories lately?
No.
What's Steve Gadd doing? Everything.
I mean,
do you see this modern drummer thing?
I told you the one story.
What's that? What?
We opened for Paul Simon a few times, and the first time we opened for him, it was this like California.
Push the button. Push the button.
It was the first time we opened for Paul Simon. It was at California State Fair, maybe the second time.
Oh, cool.
And Paul had two drummers at that point. He had Steve Gadd and this guy named Robin DiMaggio.
I know that name.
Yeah. And I guess Robin was doing more of the electronic stuff. And
Steve was not digging it?
No, they were cool. They were played together really well. They played together amazingly.
Yeah.
But point is, I'm waiting for sound check. They're done sound checking.
Yeah.
And my drums are set off on the side on a riser on wheels. But they weren't mic'd. They weren't coming through the PA yet. But all of a sudden, I hear noise coming from my drums. And I'm like, what is that?
Right.
It was like a lot of noise.
Right.
And I walk up on stage, and Steve Gadd and Robin DiMaggio are tag teaming my drum kit.
Get out!
So
that's kind of cool.
It was really cool. One of them was playing like ride cymbal and kick and floor tom.
Wow.
And the other one was playing like hi-hat and snare.
Yeah.
So the running joke
was good listening, man. You know what I mean? That's got like you got to listen to the other guy.
The running joke was every time I'd run into Steve Gadd, I would say, "Not for sale." That was a running joke.
Yeah.
Drums are not for sale.
Wow. He liked the kit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a Yamaha guy.
True.
But who knows what he's got at home?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's got the
I wonder if he's like a collector kind of cat.
Good point. Right.
Do you know his buddy John DeChristopher? Do you know Johnny from Zildjian? Well, I know Johnny from Zildjian. He does.
I know who he is. He does you.
Yeah, he does this great show. He has like Joe Vitale. He's like the
great
really
drummer.
super famous guys on his show. Kid Kenny on, and Gadd is on a lot. Greg Bissonette, Greg Bissonette is such a great drummer.
Another family, another crazy drumming family.
Right. Yeah. But his brother is an amazing bass player.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, but what's funny about the Bissonette, like I like as much as I think he gets his. I guess he gets his due. I don't think he gets the credit for being as great as he is. I mean, that guy is a really great musician. For him to pull out, do the things he does. He's
with Zappa, right?
Yeah,
or is that
was Kaluta. Did he do Zappa?
I think so.
I don't know if he did Zappa, but I know Vinny. Like Vinny, I love Vinny's drumming. You see stuff he does. Another guy I was talking to, Pat Berkery, about this. I was talking to Pat about Josh Freese.
Oh yeah,
who is like a freaking machine. He plays with Devo, man.
He's crazy.
Did you ever play? So I teach, right? I give lessons at the School Rock, on a couple of nights.
Right.
And some of these kids, they like rocking. I have them. They want to work on endurance. I have them play Whip It.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how many beats per minute. Offhand, I don't know.
Right.
But if you listen to that, and then Josh plays that every night. Like,
it's crazy.
Like, that is freaking beastly.
Wow.
And I don't think he's that much. I think he's, about 10 years younger than us.
Right.
But that's a
he's a great drummer, man.
And I just saw that he was doing he was on the road he plays with a lot, like the Vandals. He does a lot of the punk gigs. Like, he still does that. But he's one of these guys that can play punk rock and then still play with Sting and do Fields of Gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can play subtle, like, things, as subtle as he gets, and then go, you know what I mean?
That's great.
That's pretty,
That's
God bless him, but he must be tired at the end of the night.
Maybe he works out. Who knows what
he looks really fit. He looks like a kind of guy to, and I'm always checking out my buddy Elon Rubin.
Yeah, it's your boy.
Oh,
what's he up to these days?
His wife had a birthday, so I saw some photos of him and his wife. But
nice.
he is such a, he's a great drummer. I think he still does 9 Inch Nails. He does, the New Regime, and then he has his own. The New Regime is him.
Oh,
he
nice.
plays all the instruments.
Yeah,
I think he's, that guy could be. Because of his mind, he's a freak of nature, Fred. He was
the guy. You should have him on the.
I had him on.
Oh, good.
I had him on.
Good.
Yeah, he was.
I'll
on.
have to dig.
Yeah, matter of fact, the day I had him on, I was late getting here, and I could have. But the guy is constantly challenging himself. Like, I think that he is like he's like me. Thinks like George Martin or orchestral kind of vision of music. Like, he could do. Like, he was this drummer. Great drummer. We all knew him in San Diego. He was coming to my house, taking lessons. Yeah. And then my buddy Craig Zarkos, rest in peace, said one day he was at the studio and he goes, Elon sat down at the grand piano and was playing Chopin.
Wow.
Like, like doing all this like stuff. And it's like, where does that come from?
Crazy.
The kid just picks up, and he's a great guitar player.
Wow.
He's just, lights out, just really good.
Speaking of George Martin, we have to discuss.
Yeah, the Get Back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Read my mind.
Yeah, bro.
Man. Dude, is Ringo the man or what?
Yeah.
Say what you will. We talked about the Purdy thing, and I always see people starting ish on Facebook. Or about Ringo.
How can anybody I don't hear it anymore, but I actually heard people say, like, I've had people ask me, "Do you think Ringo's a great drummer?" Like, what? Like how can you even ask that? It's like
ignorance. That's all.
Well, John didn't help. That when they asked him,
I don't know if that's a true statement. He's not even the best drummer.
He's not even the best drummer in the band.
I don't know. About
but knowing John, like seeing that video now, how kind of goofy he was, like he might have said something like ridiculous like that. I mean, Ringo was truly, and if you watch some of those early videos of them playing, like before that time, he was digging in, man.
Dude.
Great drummer. Yeah, what great.
I just watched something actually because Kenny posted a link to it. It was NME 64.
Oh.
It was the show, The Stones, Beatles headline, of course. It was so good, man. It's out there. It's on the interwebs. Yeah. Check it out.
For me,
you won't be disappointed.
Because Ringo could swing like a mother. And you listen to Old Brown Shoe.
And Charlie Watts.
Yeah.
And Charlie.
Old Brown Shoe. You know that right there. In Get Back, where they're messing with that, and then you listen to the end product. It's just like, wow.
I mean, look. Here's the thing. Also, all those English quote unquote rock drummers, Bonham, Pace, all those guys grew up listening to big band jazz.
Yeah.
Therefore, they could swing.
Yeah. Sandy Nelson.
They
you know,
loved it.
And they lived, you know, Let There Be Drums. If you listen to Let There Be, you listen to boom, 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 boom. It's like, oh my God, you know, it's like that's some tricky stuff.
And they dug all the American R&B, so therefore they were listening to all the session guys at Chess and Panama Francis up in New York and Gary Chester.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Gary Chester?
I didn't, but his book has frustrated me to no end.
I like it, but here's the thing: the book.
Well, it's five-way independence.
You're right.
Because you're vocalizing a line while you're playing. For different things. Your limbs. So
the book is kind of wacky, isn't it?
It is.
It's a wacky.
It's a thing. You're not going to go to a session and do that.
But he kept all the if you read about how he took all those notes and then he would. Every session, sometimes the kit was set up differently, and he kept notation of how he kept them in a vault or something.
Right.
So, like sometimes
the whole floor tom on your
right, on your left,
my left,
on your right.
Wait, on your left, my right.
So Warren Zevon, when he was doing a record with Keltner, there was a song that he wanted it to be like a punk song, and Keltner felt that if he set the kid up left-handed, he could be more authentic, real kind of like young dude slamming it.
Yeah, I get that.
That reminded me of what Gary Chester would do. Like, I'm really going to try to get like what you're looking for.
Right.
I'll set the drums up so it like, you know, I mean, that guy. Yeah. It's interesting, but he played on all that. Like you
played on a lot of
stuff. Yeah. Kenny Arison knows. Like, you talk to him about history of session guys. Like, he knows a lot about Gary Chester.
He does.
You know, he's like an interesting cat to talk to about stuff like this.
There was another guy from Vineland, New Jersey originally, actually maybe Bridgeton, named Buddy Saltzman.
Oh, I know that guy.
Who played on all the Four Seasons stuff.
Yes.
And him and Gary Chester played on sessions together. Wow. They don't really even know
who played on what.
Who's played on what.
Wow.
But there's some union logs, I guess, that they kept.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're available to the public.
Wow.
Well, another guy from Philly, Bobby Gregg.
Yeah.
He played on Like a Rolling Stone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The shot heard around the world. That's him, man.
Is he still?
He's not alive.
Yeah.
No.
You know, I mean, listen, Philly had, Earl, Keith Benson, Charles Collins, that whole thing there at Philly International. There were probably some other guys that came in. They had a great bass player, Jimmy Williams.
Yep.
That crew was like really something, man. Like,
there's a great live, just came out. It's a Gamble and Huff, Golden Gate, something or other. It's a record that was recorded live in San Francisco in 1973.
Wow.
Check it out.
And it's all those cats.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, I mean, that was like...
Well, Norman Harris, Ronnie Baker, and Earl Young. That rhythm section.
Pretty
so good.
They could have been on the Bowie record.
It's slamming.
Let's not get started on that.
But Larry Washington was.
Larry Washington was a smart man.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I liked him too. Really good. Hey, man, this like flew by. This is like, we got to, Fred.
Well, dude, we could do this.
I know, because it was just like hanging out. I knew this would be like this. And God bless anyone that could follow what we were talking about.
True.
It's my fault. ADD. It hasn't changed.
I'm right there
not taking
you,
medication. But I think, listen, I want to thank all our sponsors. This isn't going to air till after the new year. So, like, I hope you had a really nice Christmas. I hope you really had a nice new year. And 2022 is going to be better than 2021 for sure. I want to thank all my friends here at Wildfire Podcasting. Taylor does a great job producing the show. Jim, who runs the organization. And God bless Andy Weinberg, who got us all started. My guest here, Freddie B, who joined me today. It's been awesome. My sponsors, School of Rock, Mainline, Kroger Percussion, Pocket Percussion, and all you good people, man. Stay well, and we'll see you on the other side, all right?